prerogative and the constitutional right of setting an election date is that of the Prime Minister of the country. PMP Prime Minister, JLP Prime Minister. It's their right. It's their constitutional duty. That's a norm. That's a practice. That's how it is. So when a seat becomes vacant in the parliament, it is a right and privilege and duty of the Prime Minister to determine if and when he want to hold a by-election. Now, the system not perfect, as is no system around the world. And there should be, as there is in some cases, some constitutional requirements as to when one should call and when one should not call, as in the case, for example, of a local government seat, like the one in St. Thomas. But the prerogative of setting those election dates is still the Prime Minister's to make. Karen Cecilia here. I hope you're all having a great day. Eat something, drink something, be happy, be merry. If you like this when I say it, then smash the like button. Alright? So I was sent this thing where Dayton Campbell running up in mouth. Running up in mealy mouth. In frothy mouth. When most of it was spent defiling underage picnic. Talking all kind of things for news media. The news media that seems to love him. Particularly those who used to represent pedophiles and rapists. And some of those who like to have him talk. Them like to have him around. I don't know. It could be a sick thing. It could be that them just like to have him look for them and maybe they say to them, say, but look for this piece of crappy. All the things that them say him do. Maybe we don't know, or maybe them just like have him around. We know that them and them exchange money from time to time. And there is no greater corrupt group of people in this country than the media. Some of them. Some of them. Just like there are just some politicians that are corrupt. And maybe the media is more corrupt than politicians because they have a microphone. And them have an education that them can cover under. So when the General Secretary of the PMP, when he was asked about who the candidate is, about the candidate, never asked about who the candidate, about the amount of money that the candidate spent up and them denying him the opportunity to run, they never took the opportunity to ask him about Dr. Chaplain, Pastor Ryan Simpson. I don't even know if they are paying attention to any of the things that we've been saying about Dr. Chaplain, Pastor Ryan Simpson. But I don't think it's important enough to even ask him that. There are some things on social media about Dr. Simpson. You have anything to say about that, sir? No, them not asking about that. Not at all. Them not interested in that. In any other news market around the world, based on the accusations that I have leveled against Dayton Campbell, he would not be entertained in any other news market. Sit down there chatting crap like him is somebody important, or like him is a decent guy. Him still look nasty and frothy and mealy mouth and riff-raffy. No matter how much clothes him buy, him still look the part. Still look the part of a man that drive up and down in a vehicle with underage picnic. Him still look the part of a man who walk around with a knapsack of money for sabotage PMP seats in the 2020 elections. Him still look like that man. A plan. Who them? We'll get rid of all of them. Yeah, man. Who him? Him a one away. We'll get rid of him. Oh, yes. Him still look the part. No matter how much new clothes him buy. So here he is. On television. Telling the world. And I wonder sometimes if when they talk, they actually don't think that we hear. Or that the wider country hear. Because the things that they say sometimes make you want to believe that they believe them just talking to a few people. There's only a few people hearing them. Because they can't sit them talk all the quiet parts them out loud so often that I wonder sometimes if them think that when them say something in a classroom of people or to the news media in a studio, them think that's where it rests. It's not going out in blogosphere and it's not going to run the world. I'm wondering if them think that. Because you can't possibly go into a studio, go sit down, or wherever he was, and talk these things without thinking that people were here. And him actually think he can get away with it. So here's what he did. He went into the news station, he went on the news program, making the case on behalf of his rise leader as to why they should not contest a legitimately called, set by-election, date set by the Prime Minister of the country. And if it was any other Prime Minister, PMP Prime Minister, he would have that same right as well. And him trying to wiggle them way out of it, because it appears that time has been coming and not reached yet. So him trying to wiggle him way out of it. And then he went where he should not have gone. But them can't help themselves because God is God. So he went on to talk about how no elections, no by-election should be held in an election year. No by-election should be held in an election year. And that is not his prerogative. Our constitution, the norms and rights of our country practices, the Prime Minister can call a by-election anytime he feel a mind. We might not like how that works, but that is how it is right now. And him use and him reach for something that him feel proud of. He would not have reached for it if he was not proud of the fact that it happened. And he said, that is why we in the PMP, we don't hold elections during the election year. We have no internal elections during the election year. Something to that effect. I'm not saying it word for word as he said it. But that's basically what I'm saying. We in the PMP, we're not doing that. That's what I'm saying. We make sure that that can happen. We change the constitution to ensure that nobody challenges Mark. Nobody challenge me. Nobody challenge the witch chairman. No challenge. Nobody challenge the vice president. No challenge at all. We locked down that. We changed the constitution. We took that right away from the delegates, the free half idiot delegate, them the PMP. We took that right away from them. Them not have the right to elect nobody. Everybody going to stay there until election call. Nobody now face them until election call. And remember that they have been saying this from 2022. This is from 2022, you know. They're put in place because them said them in an election year. So for them, every year has been an election year from 2022. Every year. So the people, the full delegates them in the PMP who have the right constitutionally to challenge for positions, or anybody, them don't have that right anymore. And he was saying it in the national news, and him repeat it because he felt comfortable doing it. Bet him regret it. But he felt comfortable doing it. Because him think we don't remember. He think we don't remember, we don't know. We don't know. No elections. We can't challenge the 4 vice presidents. All who want the vice president will wait until after the general election call. So Mr. Oldness have until 2025 September. And him can delay it after September 2025 if he want. And up to that point, that a soul that the PMP can challenge anybody about nothing because an election soon call. And they have been telling you that for the last nearly 4 years now. And him used that as an example to try to make his point about why the Prime Minister should not have announced a by-election for Northeast St. Anne. That's the example him use. So I'm basically saying to the country, when we take over, the same thing that we did to the PMP and the same thing we're going to do to Jamaica. The same changes we made to the PMP constitution for us to get power and for us to stay in power is the same changes we're going to make to the Jamaican constitution for us to get power, for us to stay in power. Don't laugh, you know. We've been saying this too now, and now listen. So may I say it again because I'm not going to stop saying it. Them telling you that this is what they intend to do and this should not happen. Them calling the Prime Minister. Basically, it's like a nasty mouth boy. This look a riffraff. Nobody ever accused Andrew Oldness is all kinds of things. all kinds of things. People can call him. I could think of a few choice names to call him too. But nobody has ever accused him of sleeping around with underage picnic. Nobody, none of them driver them are, nobody who from here come into parties can ever say them a drive up and down with him in a car with underage picnic and coleslaw. Nobody can say that about him. So here is what this fool saying. The Prime Minister, he might take step with the Prime Minister, said the Prime Minister say, you shouldn't be doing this, you should listen to we. Because we did it to the PMP. And because we did it to the PMP, you should listen to us. Because this is what we intend to do when we take power. Let me make that. Because leave that for a couple of seconds and make it sink into. No? This idiot repeat to the country that, yeah, we sabotage Peter Phillips. Bunting run against him in 2019. The Constitution and the PMP from before 2019 up till 20 when them change it. Anybody can challenge anybody anytime they want, every year at every conference. From conference starting June, divisional, constituency, regional, and annual conference. Anybody can challenge anybody for anything. And him say, him tell the country, we lock that down. Nobody can challenge nobody for nothing. Nothing. Nobody can challenge nobody for nothing. Everybody just have to live with who they there. So even if the person not perform, even if the person is a pedophile, even if the person is a rapist, even if the person is a witch flying on a broom, nobody can challenge them. They have to live with it until after the general elections, whenever that comes. And every time they say that it coming this year. So it will come 2022, it will come 2023, they will run a general election in 2024 in February. That never end well. And now, I'm saying that the Prime Minister shouldn't have the right. The Prime Minister shouldn't carry out his constitutional duty to set a by-election date if he so sees fit. Let me be clear, you know. This is something I will defend no matter who the Prime Minister is, you know. This is something I will always defend, you know. Him is the Prime Minister, no. Him have the right, no. PJ was once Prime Minister, him call a by-election for Northeast St. Anne. We lost it. Yeah, we did. PJ exercised his constitutional rights, and nobody ever tell him he shouldn't. He felt as the Prime Minister that he should. And this fool come on national news to tell the Jamaican people that we have shut down democracy in the PMP. And when we become leaders of this country, we are going to make sure say, Mr. Rattigan and him crew and everybody else can turn senator and MP. We are going to make sure so no matter how much US citizenship nobody have, if you want to come back and run for MP, you can run. We are going to change the constitution. And then maybe him telling us that is not Mark or them going to make the decision about who will set election date. Maybe it's England going to set election date. You don't listen to this fool. You don't need to listen to this half idiot. Him basically saying that should the PMP become government, they will not call a by-election in an election year. But is that alone him saying? Because he drew reference from what they did to the PMP constitution. If it was only that alone he was saying, that would be fine. But he drew reference to what they did to the PMP constitution. He drew reference to that. We locked down that where nobody can do anything unless we say, this we are going to do. Nobody can do anything until we reach where we are reached with that. Had he not drawn reference to that one act, it would be all right for say, boy, when we form government, we make a pledge that we're not going to hold a by-election when we believe an election year. But here's the next trick about that. How does he know that this is an election year? Because the Prime Minister is the only one that can set an election year, and based on our constitution, the Prime Minister have until September 2025 to call an election. But him on national television tell the people that this is an election year because they have been saying it from 2022. Last year was an election year. 2022 was an election year. Every damn year was an election year. Ever since they took over. And they put it in the Constitution to make sure that no upset that. No upstage that apple cart. And he went in national media and he said the quiet part out loud. Him say, the Prime Minister, we should not have a by-election in an election year. And him can determine when an election year is an election year. Him could say that next year, because next year, 2025, would be an election year constitutionally. Him can't say that in 2024, but him say it. After Bunting challenged Peter Phillips in 2019, a year before election, after during the election, them sabotage Peter Phillips, make sure some PNP people lose, for them to take power. They grabbed power after they did all of that. And then they changed the Constitution to ensure that what Bunting did to Peter Phillips, none of them dare not try to do it to them. Them change it so that. So when he make reference to that, therein lies the problem. Him saying to the country, this is what we intend to do. How long we are telling her that now? So everything when them do to the PMPs, when them plan to do to Jamaica. How long we have been telling you people that? That is their intent. That is their plan to change up things. Yeah. Change the Constitution for the worst. Not for the better. For the worst. To give them more power on which they could, spread them wings and to do what they want to do. Listen to them. Listen to them when them talk. You must listen because them can't help themselves. He was very, very proud of what they did. And he wanted you all to know that he's proud of what they did. And this is their intention to do it to Jamaica and our Constitution. And of course, there's the argument that Peter Phillips also did not contest the by-election in Clarendon. Well, here is the thing. First, that might have been a strategic move. And I believe it was. This one is not no strategic move. This was just pure cowardice. And Peter Phillips coming out to say that he agreed with it. Well, I didn't expect him to say anything else. Because he did not contest the one in Clarendon. That might have been strategic, but it was also a mistake. And if you don't want to draw reference to that, then draw reference to this as well. Yeah, Peter Phillips didn't contest it. He went on to also lose the general elections. Consider that too as well, since you don't want to put that in the mix. Consider that as well. And yeah, Peter Phillips can always say it's a good move to make. But Peter Phillips, knowing them heart, says a coward move. If Peter Phillips had poll numbers that UNO say UNO have, if Peter Phillips had the kind of organization that UNO say UNO have, if Peter Phillips had that unity that UNO say UNO have, try and imagine if Peter Phillips would have made such a decision. Of course not. He would have taken those poll numbers and go there for a spin. Let's take these poll numbers and go for a spin with it. Let's go see if all the poll of them say with their upper head by 6 points and we're going to win everything. Because see if I saw it go. So they don't bother try that foolishness. And Peter Phillips is wise enough to know that this is true. But I can understand him saying that it's a good decision not to make. But it's a terrible decision. It is a terrible decision. And it's a terrible decision because you tell the country that you are ahead by 6 points in the polls. You tell the country that Mark have 34 or 35%. I don't know, remember, but it's 30. I don't know, I can't remember the number because I'm just talking off the top of my head right now. But him have high poll numbers. People have voted for him all over the place. I'm unafraid to take this out for a spin. Uno go, uno a liar. Uno a liar. And Dayton Campbell made it clear that uno not only lie and deceptive, but uno stupid. I want to tell the country what uno intend to do. Uno tell it. Uno just tell the country Everything we'll do to the PMP, we'll do it to UNO too. Everything, constitutional and everything. So that may I go back to. So I might sound a little mix up, but that more I go back to. So yeah, Peter Phillips didn't contest it. And that was a strategic move on his part. But it was also a mistake. And Peter Phillips was not ahead in the polls. Peter Phillips was down in the polls. Peter Phillips was ahead in the polls before Bunting challenged him. Everything went downhill after that. And don't try that foolish kind of things everybody does. And everybody does. What about people go to school and still have good sense? Don't stop it. And they can stay there with it. So, Peter didn't contest. He went on to lose the general election. So if we're going to use any kind of comparison, we're going to use that too. So while him there running up in the mouth, everything that him supposed to, that everything when them heart, everything when them mind, every time them in front of a microphone, it comes out. It's a natural thing. It will continue to come out. That's God at work. Telling you who they are and giving them the opportunity to tell you who they are. It's not me telling you something. Say no. You can now hear him say so. I am just unraveling it for you. So you can fully understand that this is what he said. Don't just take it in a farcical way to say him said that the election should not be held in an election year. That would have been fine, as I said. But he went on. He went on to compare it to what they did to the PMP constitution and inside the PMP. He wanted to understand what it means. Without him knowing that he wanted to understand. So there he is. There it is. Them not going into no election. Them afraid. All the polls where them say and them time come and them ready. Them can't even take that poll that done on this and give them and take it for a spin. Yeah, all right. Mark of 33 or 36% approval rating. Take that for a spin. In my head of Mr. Oldsby, how much points? 6 something points? Take that out for a spin in a constituency that you can't win. You can't do that. You can't do it. There you go. I'm done. Let's not make any more noise. Remember to like the video. Alright? God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody. And keep the children safe.